nothing. Okay, so this is the most YouTubeiest shit we've ever done, I think, because this is a response to Dylan Burns' response to my response to Dylan Burns' response to a fucking argument that Vaush got into about whether or not George W. Bush used voter suppression in Florida to win in 2000. He claims it's a conspiracy theory, and so
this guy or Vaush?
This isn't Vaush. This is
I know it's not. I'm saying, does Vaush say that it's not, or that it's a conspiracy, or this guy?
They got into an argument about whether or not George W. Bush is a fascist. So he said one aspect of fascism is a hatred of democracy, a repression of democracy. He uses as an example George W. Bush cheating his way into office in 2000.
Right.
Using voter suppression. And not just in Florida, in multiple states. And then they all started saying that's a conspiracy theory. The courts said it was fair and square and blah, 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 blah.
And because that was another case of someone losing the popular but winning based on electorals, right?
But he technically, really, he didn't win the electorals. They suppressed about like 40,000 or something. No, it was like 12,000 votes that they figured out would have went to a Democrat who they mistakenly listed as felons.
Oh.
But they did an investigation into it pretty thoroughly, and they found out it wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
They did it on purpose.
That's a pretty big box to check.
So in other words, your name's Gabriel Quire, and there's another Gabe Quire who's a felon.
Yeah.
They could have done more detailed research to find out that you're the Gabe Quire that can vote. But they said, no, you're a felon. And normally when that happens, you have to sign an affidavit. But they didn't have any affidavits with them. And then when they would call the office to get some, no one would answer the phone. So all these people weren't allowed to vote.
Whenever I bought my first car out here, the owner signed the wrong line on the title, so the where I had to sign to put the title in my name, already had a signature, and the guy was like, just write over it. They usually are cool with it. Mm-hmm. He was like, if not, call me and I'll get you an affidavit and the number of the original owner. And they did. And I had to fucking get an affidavit and find this random girl, and meet her at a fucking Wells Fargo to sign this shit. It was so weird.
All right, so this is Dylan.
I thought an affidavit was divorce related or some shit. I didn't know.
By the way, I brought him not to protect me from Dylan. I brought him to protect Dylan from me.
This guy studied 7 months of Krav Maga.
Yes.
7 months.
7 months of Krav Maga and verbal diarrhea.
It's funny, Krav Maga sounds like a wrestler.
Oh, Krav Maga.
It's like a redneck Russian. I am Krav Maga.
Versus Crocodile Dundee.
In southern Russia. Alright. You want to do this?
Yeah.
Alright, let's start here. So, and this is Dylan Burns.
Talking shit about yours truly.
This long-haired fuck.
This long-haired freak.
Alright.
So, I'm just going to assume that you are wrong, and me, who's done no research on the topic, is correct. Because I couldn't, do any basic research. Brilliant. I love him. Genius character we have here.
That would be the only true thing he says in this video.
And it was sarcastic.
You think so?
The Democrats who designed that were secret Republican operatives working for George Bush doing fucking secret ops. Working for...
Uh-oh, folks, he's making gun noises.
Yep.
He doesn't know what gerrymandering is, but he's making gun noises. He was making gun noises.
What a fucking prick.
That's also true. But he does that a lot. He makes gun noises a lot.
Really?
Yeah, at random. He just goes a lot, which is kind of scary. But.
I think he just proved your point that he doesn't know what gerrymandering is.
Yeah, well...
Which I only know that because of an episode of Last Week Tonight from years ago.
He said, he was non-specific. I didn't know what he was talking about. He was talking about where Democrats try to gerrymander, but then they fail, and it usually benefits Republicans. And I was like, is it possible that they were just redistricting? And they didn't try to cheat? I mean, because they're kind of known as pussies, but I don't know. But he wasn't specific, so I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm talking about, the ACLU, the NAACP,
and the findings from the U.S. Civil Rights Commission.
Which all say that Jeb Bush and Katherine Harris stole Florida for George W.
And his retort is, pew!
Oh, sorry.
Because when you said that, I googled.
You said Catherine
Harris.
Is related to Kamala?
No.
Fuck. I changed where we were at in the video when I went to pause it.
Well.
Okay, and I want this to be a case about.
It was at 2046.
God damn it! What the fuck just happened? I fucking hate touchscreens so much.
So.
They're so goddamn annoying. Dead air. I'm sorry.
I really like this Twitch stream. To me, is a mix of Morton Downey Jr. and
Okay,
Gossip
cool.
Girl.
Wow, I randomly found exactly.
It should
where
not
was.
be taken as information, and that's kind of the point that I want to make in this
I
video.
mean, he's got, what is that, World of Warcraft running in the background while
Exactly.
you guys are doing this? Which is pretty surreal.
He could have researched the fucking election. Instead, he wants to play World of Warcraft.
I mean, with his setup, he probably does have another monitor.
Yeah.
And could have been doing it on that and wasn't, so it's still lazy. He could have just Googled gerrymandering and
He could have Googled any of this
fully known
before
what it
he
is.
opened his mouth in the first place.
U.S. Civil Rights Commission, and his retort is, pew, 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 pew.
Okay, so there's a lot of people who send me messages of like, hey man, I want to get into streaming. Can you check out my content? And then they'll send me something along the lines of this. And look, I'm trying to be as nice as possible, but streaming.
There's nothing like this. There's nothing like this show on YouTube. He just made that up.
Yeah, there's
It's
nothing
not
this
for
bad.
everyone,
There's nothing
okay?
this.
And I want this to be a case.
DIY, buddy. DIY. We work for a living.
Yeah, this is inside of an
Streaming and
Amazon
content
box.
creation is
Yeah.
not for everyone. Okay, you need to have a basic
Okay,
like conception of what lighting is.
Okay. He insulted the lighting. Real quick, because he's lecturing us on creativity. And I really want to make this point. You should watch Mad Men, because there's a line in Mad Men. There's a lot of lessons in creativity in that show. Don Draper is a fountain of wisdom when it comes to that.
And fucking randos.
Oh, and fucking
right?
randos, yeah.
He fucks randos like crazy.
Yeah, but what does he say? You want to be the needle in the haystack, not the haystack. His complaint is the lighting. Now let me tell you about this lighting.
It is needled as fuck.
Every fucking Twitch streamer has some shot of their fucking room. They all look the same. They got a mic, they got a room with their Captain Marvel anthology in the background and their bookshelf. We got, well, you can't see it because it's fading now. That's a palm tree in the background. That's not a green screen.
That's a palm
That's
tree.
a fucking palm tree.
You believe that shit?
This show, for that particular video, I took that animated movie Heavy Metal, and I played it on my TV. And then I had the laptop in front of me. All I need is my face lit. And rather than just have my face lit, if you watch the video, it goes from blue to red to yellow. It constantly changes. That's called having an eye for design. If you want to lecture people on creativity, you should know what the fuck you're talking about, you fuck. Because nerds like this don't have a creative bone in their fucking body. That's what makes them nerds.
Need to have a basic conception of reality, and you
Reality. Fucking George W. Bush stole Florida.
need to just not be a dumbass. I think those are the three.
Okay,
people
not
that
be a dumbass. Now that's the fucking key. He's trying to roast me.
Right.
And he comes up with,
Don't be a dumbass.
don't be a dumbass.
It's pretty killer. I know.
It works when that guy
he
Red
hasn't-
says it
he
on that
hasn't-
70s show. But he's got timing.
When that old dude that was based on a 70s character, the 70s dad whose whole thing is repress emotions.
I just watched RoboCop, dude. That guy's awesome.
Well, that last
Glenn
one isn't
Foreman
necessarily
rules,
true
dude.
because there's a lot
What
of
is that
dumb people on the
actor's name?
platform. So
I don't know, but
if you
he's
can
in
deal with the
RoboCop.
other two,
He is.
then maybe you
he's
can
the
start.
one.
Touche, buddy. This kid walks into a fucking room, and I think to myself, that's too much.
This is
It's the fucking haircut, man. I'm telling you.
This is where it gets funny.
You're not gonna look.
This made
does
me
not match
laugh.
Your fucking personality.
His reaction to
And I
this.
don't understand why this kid's style icon has to be Eddie Vedder. I mean, fucking for real,
Oh, he
dude. What's
doesn't
this
know Eddie
fascination
Vedder,
kids
doesn't.
have with the fucking 90s? Wasn't all that?
Who's Eddie Vedder? I have no clue who that is, man. That's some old people stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
Eddie,
All right. Now I like the little ages thing where he's like, "Well, I was randomly born after you, so therefore I'm better." But here's the question: do you believe him?
What, that he doesn't know who Eddie Vedder is?
Yeah.
Totally.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
But how do you not? I mean, you
I
have
mean,
to
I'm
be like
sure he
jerking off to
knows-
anime and playing
I'm
video
sure he
games all
knows
day.
who fucking Creed is.
Okay,
but like,
but wait a second. That's 25 years ago, right? Second
Yeah.
biggest band at the time, probably the second biggest rock band, right? Okay. I don't
Eddie
count
Vedder
U2.
was Pearl Jam and Creed, right?
No.
It was just Creed? Or was
No.
he just Pearl Jam?
It was just
Which
Pearl
one?
Jam.
Because I know they both had long, douchey hair.
Eddie Vedder's the one that goes.
Yeah, I mean, Creed does
Creed
the-
is just a ripoff of Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I know that. That's why, for some odd reason, no, there is a band. Is it like the guy from Audio Slave is in another
Chris
band?
Cornell.
Is he in another famous?
Yeah.
Okay, that's who. I'm
But
thinking
imagine
of.
in 1995, though. But here's my point. Imagine it's 1995.
All right, I'm 3
Right?
years old.
But imagine you're 20-something in 1995 and you don't know who the fucking Doors are.
Okay, I get. I don't know if Pearl Jam had the impact that the Doors had.
What about the Who?
Yeah, I
the
guess you're
Kinks?
right. It is. I agree. I mean, so you're saying he's 25?
He's got to be about 25.
I mean, dude, I don't know why he would play dumb for that. You know what I mean? Like,
You think he's sincere?
I think all it does is make him look dumber.
I think either way he's screwed.
I think everybody just laughed at him, or they're like 17-year-olds that actually watch YouTube streamers, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't know who Eddie Vedder was.
I just don't see how you can miss that.
I guarantee you, he knows who Pearl Jam is.
I'm not a Pearl Jam. I'm not a Pearl. No, he doesn't know who Pearl Jam is.
He doesn't say,
Well, they say-
Pearl Jam?
No, somebody says.
Eddie Vedder?
Hold on.
This guy? Who is
Okay,
this man?
this is a little disingenuous too. He took a picture of Eddie Vedder from now.
See,
In the
look at
thumbnail, I have a picture of Eddie Vedder then. So you know what I'm referencing when I talk about his hair. Because I'm like, where would you get a hairstyle like that? I mean, I imagine there's a lot of theater nerds that have long hair and they try to look cool and shit like that, but you could tell in their souls they're just...
Not the theater kids when I was in high school. none
Really?
of
You know,
us.
there were no kids that were
There
flashy?
There weren't at my theater. Like, I mean, one, it wasn't like exactly thriving because it was in
Yeah.
a suburb of Charleston, South Carolina. So that shit was kind of gay, but like it wasn't. There weren't like any theater kids that were like cool. Like, I'm doing this. Like, I'm a fucking beatnik. Like, badass. Like, it was mostly
Really?
just nerdy kids
Oh, okay.
that were outgoing.
You'd always see like a faux Jim Morrison type kid. I don't know.
Not really. I mean, and if it was somebody that was taking the class just to get an easy grade.
Okay, now, I was trying to be nice before with him, but now I'm not going to be nice because he says something very mean about me. But I imagine if he had shaved his head, if you really look at this kid, I mean, and he had a shaved head, he would look... You would call the cops on him if once you saw him. I mean, it'd be scary.
wow,
he would look
yeah,
like
I
some dude
didn't-
who escaped from somewhere.
I didn't see how poofy the top is. That shit goes up there. It's like, damn, that kid's got some fucking wild hair.
All right.
I have no clue who this is. I have no clue.
Okay, I
My
guess I
icon
believe
is
it.
not a picture of Eddie Vedder. It's an artistic portrayal of myself. You can say it's unrealistic, but
I don't know what
it's
he's
not-
talking about right now.
Again, I don't know who Eddie Vedder is.
And I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you ever seen our porn?
I'm talking about 90s
It's pretty
porn.
fucking dull.
I'm
unless
just
you
making
got
fun of
thing
This is a
for,
throwaway joke.
Hairspray and silicone titties that look like googly eyes.
Look at the silicone titties.
But don't worry, buddy. My style icon is 1968 Steve McQueen, and my personality does not match that look either. So,
For the fucking Republicans to get them elected. Pearl Jam, look, guys, again, I was born in the 2000s. I don't know what any of what you're talking about in
I
chat
don't think
is.
that's an
Did you
excuse.
hear that though?
I have no clue.
What?
He was born in the 2000s, so this kid is at the oldest 21. So he's probably like 19.
I don't know, man. I knew about a lot of 60s
I'm
bands
just saying-
and the fucking... I knew
I
about the
don't
Velvet
know-
Underground when I was like 15.
Dude, I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's that unreal. I think the only reason, really, even people like my age know about Pearl Jam at that level is because of fucking.
But you were listening to Gang of Four. I never even listened to Gang of Four.
Well, yeah, it's because I fucking hung out with dirty hipster kids my junior and senior year, and past that, like, that's whenever I fucking was like, oh no, dude, like, popular music's too normal. I don't like weird music. Like, I was just like, oh, dude, no, the production quality's too good with this band. I don't like this.
Okay.
Like, that's my fault. But I just, like, yeah, I think Guitar Hero is the only reason Pearl Jam would have any relevance with my generation, even.
All right.
No clue, okay? You guys are all old.
But it's still funny that he
Congratulations.
doesn't know.
I think it's funny.
It just means they screwed up. That's what it means.
Okay. In Fantasyland. In Imagination Land. That's what it means.
Earlier, he was going like, it's imagination land. If you think that George W. Bush stole the election, you live in imagination land. He was like
Do you
freaking
think
out.
he just blanked on the term dreamland? Because that's already a thing.
It's a
It had
delusion.
a negative impact on Democrats, but there was no evidence whatsoever.
So you're just
that it
playing
was
an old
purposely
video?
designed to screw 'em over.
What?
There
Are you
is
playing
a
an old
pile
video
of
of
evidence.
his?
And by
No,
the
it was
way,
relatively recent.
Where?
That's why there's not that many jokes in it.
You have the videos over and you haven't shown me any of the evidence.
So I
If
presented
there's so
tons
much
of evidence.
just provide me the smallest
I did.
amount of it.
I did.
There's no evidence.
I totally
There is
did.
none. I'm sorry.
You can Google it
There's
yourself.
just no evidence that it was designed.
Articles
that
in The
this
Guardian, The
Designed by a
Nation.
Democrat. Was
You can get the
designed
report
with
from the
intention
Civil Rights Commission, the
of
details,
undermining
everything.
The
There were
Democrat.
two
it wouldn't
different
even
lawsuits.
make strategic sense. So please,
Actually, there were more than two
show
lawsuits.
me this evidence around the butterfly ballots. You've shown me some
Who
stuff
cares about the butterfly
ACLU.
ballots? What do the butterfly
You've
ballots
talked
have to
about
do with
Catherine
this?
Harris. You've talked about the NAACP.
Yeah,
You've
it's-
talked about a bunch of stuff that doesn't have to do
You
with
just
butterfly
said I didn't
ballots.
present any
so
evidence.
please, tell me about butterfly ballots.
Why?
Now, that the butterfly ballot story, by the way, just a quick reminder,
All right,
is
this gets funny.
so
This
interesting.
is funny.
And why it was so fascinating. Is because in Palm Beach County, the punch holes, they had a punch hole system, and the punch hole system went into Al Gore's section.
I just want to say, we're about almost 2 to maybe 3/3 of the video. We're almost like, we're about 3/4 or halfway through the video. We're going into 3/4. And he's finally talking about the
So
butterfly ballots.
2/3.
In other words, he can only address the butterfly ballots, which is a red herring. I'll explain it in the clip. It's a red herring. It's not. You don't really need. If you want to talk about voter suppression in Florida, you don't need to talk about butterfly ballots. That happened in one
It sounds like
county.
an alt-rock band. That sounds like an alt-rock band from the fucking 90s, dude. The
Yeah.
butterfly ballads.
Or butterfly ballet, like Spandu
early-
ballet.
It's like the Wallflowers, but a little gayer.
You know who the Wallflowers are.
Yeah, dude, I know about that kind of shit. I'm just saying, like, I'm also.
I was worried you were
probably
making me look bad.
I'm probably a decade older than this fucking guy. So yeah, I know band references. Like, I look like this kid's probably 19 or 20.
Okay.
Like, I'm 10 years older than this fucking kid.
Okay, I feel like anybody younger than me is all the same age.
Happy to see it.
But Pat Buchanan's punch hole went into Al Gore's section. So you had a lot of elderly Jewish people voting for Pat Buchanan.
This is funny.
And they were walking out talking to
If you got a
fuck
dark sense of humor.
to poll takers and stuff, and election watchers going like, did I just vote for Pat Buchanan? And the reason why that's weird for elderly Jewish people to vote for Pat Buchanan is Pat Buchanan is a notorious Holocaust revisionist, kind of like Destiny is also a Holocaust revisionist.
Okay, here we go. This is funny.
Whoa.
Now hold on, real quick. That was a little harsh. But when I say that term, and I probably should not use that term as much as I used to. Now that Benjamin Netanyahu is out of office, I probably won't. But here's the thing. When you fucking start talking about the history, when you start changing facts of the Holocaust in order to suit whatever political agenda you have, that is what Holocaust revisionism is. So technically I'm right. But that's a harsh phrase to say. But watch, he does something very manipulative here.
So,
And this guy, Destiny, I'll play the clip in a second.
So what's a Holocaust what's the term you're saying?
Holocaust revisionist.
Revisionist. So would that be like the equivalent of, I don't know how it was where you went to school when you went out, but like in South Carolina, when you're learning about the Civil War, they like make it a point to tell you that slavery was kind of like the B issue, and it was
Yes.
mainly started.
That's
so
the same
it's the
thing.
same as that? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but when you start saying the word, but that phrase.
And that's why the Confederate flag is cool to have on your Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, but
where
that's
I'm from.
it's a very loaded phrase what I used. Not because of, but technically I'm right.
Whoa, that is an accusation.
It's not an accusation.
You know what? Let me go do something.
This is okay. Destiny is big in Twitch stream. What he thinks he's doing is a little alpha move. This is like really funny to me. This is really funny that he thinks that this is an own. That he's like, I got this guy on speed dial. I have my brother on speed dial. It's not impressive.
Let me go do something real quick.
I got
Destiny,
Alex Jones on.
quick question.
Hi, what's up?
What's your views on the Holocaust?
What kind of? What do you mean?
What do you believe it happened? It didn't? Just a quick question.
Yeah, it happened.
Well, you
Okay,
didn't say
got
you
it. I'm
denied
just
it.
watching a video on someone accuse you of Holocaust denial. You have a good day, okay?
Boom! Did you hear that?
Yeah, he said denying and not.
Yeah, I said revisionist, and here we go.
I think you are doing so much heavy lifting for a company here that like doesn't benefit either of us in terms of like we're not sponsored by them. When I think it's a very reasonable ask to be like, maybe just come forward and admit your complicity in any of this, or come forward and release the documents. Release.
Do you understand what you're saying? Just come forward and say you were complicit with the Holocaust because you helped the country that nobody knew was going to Holocaust people make a census system.
Right, but that's your version of history. That's your version of the understanding of these events.
So he was talking about IBM. You know, IBM designed.
IBM too, usually whenever I get home from work. Ha ha! Alright, go on.
IBM helped design the death camps. They scheduled the trains. They helped divide the people. They invented a very early computer, a card system. Those cards were literally printed in a Warsaw ghetto, in an office above the Warsaw ghetto. So he's claiming IBM had no idea the death camps were happening.
But
the genocide was happening, but they could literally look out their window and watch it happening. They also went in, they had these machines that would count and organize. They would walk into the death camps, and they would update the machines.
They had IT guys for...
Also, he says that they didn't know, that nobody knew about the Holocaust until the Americans invaded Germany in 1945. The truth of the matter is, or Russians invaded in 44 or something like that. But he says that we didn't know, the U.S. didn't know. The U.S. knew in 1942, and everyday American citizens knew it was happening because they did polling saying, how many Jews do you think are dead? And then they would say, like, 200,000, 500,000, and then a lot of people would say, oh, none, it's just a rumor, it's just a conspiracy.
Fake news.
Fake news. They would say fake news. So, listen, and by the way, you could say that guy's ignorant, and that's fine, and you could say Dylan Burns is ignorant, or any Twitch streamer is ignorant about anything. But the problem with Twitch streamers that I have is that they never admit that they're wrong. At no point do they help teach their audience, hey, I learned a new fact today, and I'm going to share it with you. And I was wrong about this, but then I learned something, and I want to share this information with you. They just run around and backtrack and dance around anytime they get caught. And one real problem is because they never do research. They just play video games, and for some reason, they watch a lot of interrogation videos.
That is very odd.
Don't get your information from these people. I mean, if you want to watch it like I do for entertainment.
That's kind of sociopath-ish.
To
watch videos about...
interrogations of police interrogating.
Like
criminals.
Serial killers and shit. That's very odd.
Yeah, it is weird. And what's really weird is they never say anything. They just play them, and then they play video games, and then people donate money.
You know what I've realized watching that is that it's not World of Warcraft. It's playing some sort of turn-based game.
A turd-based game?
Turn.
If I had free time, I'd play fucking Vice City again. I like that game.
In World of Warcraft, you can like run around and just kind of hit people and then dodge their attacks. And this, like when they're fighting, they're locked in one thing, and one person has a turn, and the other person has a turn.
That seems very exciting.
I mean, it's like Pokemon was a turn-based RPG, and it's one of the most iconic games of all time.
I've heard of Pokemon.